Many thanks for joining us on this chilly Wednesday morning. I'm Olive Monica Najuma. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda. We are coming live to you from our studios at the broadcast house at Nile Avenue. Our mandate is to inform you and also entertain you, and we do that with good breath. And we hope that you start this day beautifully and with courage. Now, yesterday a fuel tank fell and burst into flames along Bombo Road. And when we look at news coming in from different parts of the world, now as the US election even gets closer, we know that Antony Blinken, who is the US Secretary of State, has again met with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, and advised that Netanyahu restarts conversations around having a ceasefire in Gaza. And also going to Ghana, there was chaos in Parliament after about 4 members of Parliament defected and went on to another side. They switched sides, so now there was chaos on issues of which party has the more numbers, and also other members of Parliament arguing that the Constitution does not allow members of Parliament to defect. I believe you've seen the same happening here, and it seems like there is chaos in African parliaments. We one time had our members of Parliament literally fighting on the floor of Parliament, and we've seen the same happening in South Africa with their members of Parliament. And of course, they have a very outspoken opposition leader, Malema, and when you think about him and you think about chaos, you remember the blows that were exchanged on our floor in Parliament. But now in Ghana, they have suspended Parliament after the chaos that ensued when these members of Parliament defected to another party. So much more coming your way, but I would like to go to Studio B and check on the gentleman that I work with here on Good Morning Uganda. And I would like to check on Mr. Chirabo Nyonyintono. Good morning.
A lovely morning to you. You've still done me good this morning.
With black.
I see black.
Thank you.
Yeah, you make me happy when I see you put on black. Now, it is very unfortunate, very sad that yesterday we lost 11 people. That is in Chigowa town along Gulu Kampala Highway in the areas of Matuga around there. We lost 11 people, and 9 were adults and 2 were minors. Now, what is hurting here that most of those that were affected had gone to siphon fuel. Olive, there is something that usually hurts me. When people get accidents, guess what Ugandans do first? They loot you. Now, when a fuel tank overturns, the first thing you see people run for jerry cans, run for benzines, almost running for cups and spoons to get free things. When someone is involved in an accident, people steal your mobile phone, yet you would use that to communicate to your people, isn't it?
Yeah.
That I'm injured, or they would use that, put your finger to help you communicate to your people. But someone is robbing your mobile phone, they are robbing you of your goods. Now, the most affected people, bodies bad beyond recognition, are those who had gone to siphon fuel. It is also very sad that almost a number of buildings in that mushrooming town caught fire. So it's very unfortunate. We must stop that habit of looting and going for free things. But also sent a message to me, and I was like, in Kampala, where I have a fuel station here, then across a fuel station, there a fuel station. Supposing such an incident happens, what can befall us? Because if you saw the flames of fire in Chigowa town, how one shop was catching fire, the other, how fire was taking over the small area. Yet there wasn't any fuel station apart from one truck. Now think of Kampala, where we've not regulated fuel stations, what can befall us?
And on some roads, it's rather a sad situation over there. Now, for instance, if you look at Bombo Road itself, actually, from the areas of Waise, Kawempe, every few meters you drive, you're going to find a fueling station.
Oh, this fuel station is coming to our compound. There's a new company, any small place, you'll find it there.
Yes.
So that is the first thing that came. Check that. How, shop to shop, catching fire, shop to shop, shop to shop. And then you find a Ugandan who is told, "Chiroye kyamafuta kigudde, muleete ebidoma tugende tukole." And unfortunately, it is very sad, but we lost those people.
It's really sad, and I don't know, Robert, if you ask me, I don't know why we never learn, because time has proved and events of the past have proved that every time there is an accident of this nature, those who go to collect fuel always end up dead. So why do we keep doing it?
I remember the nasty one that was along, is it the Northern Bypass?
Yes.
Where we lost so many people still.
In Lubiji.
One would say, you know, when someone has a, I don't want to use it, criminal mind, but when people want free things, you know, now this is fuel. Someone knows if they take their 20 liters or if they have their 40 liters of fuel, that is some good money to get. Now, we must distance ourselves from free things. That is why I told you that someone is looking at a person craving for their life. Bambi toto walakasawo kange, please don't take my phone. The hand is broken, they are bleeding, but someone is rushing to steal a bag and go away with it. It's very unfortunate.
Really rather sad. Now, Jerome Paul, good morning.
Good morning to you, and good morning to our dear viewer. This particular Wednesday morning, still chilling in Kampala. And I think with that incident, it's just sending a clear warning to every Ugandan out there that in case of such circumstances, we've definitely got to exercise caution rather than, first of all, thinking about what we gain from the person who has been affected by the accident. And in this case, it was the fuel tank or the fuel vehicle. And in such circumstances, like Robert has mentioned, is that many Ugandans rush to always look out for what they can steal from anyone who has been involved in the accident. But again, you've got to understand, once society starts turning against the people they are supposed to help, it clearly sends a warning when it comes to the kind of society we are living in today. Because over the years, in societies we grew up from, when an accident could occur, people would first rush to help those who have been affected. Today, though, you can easily attribute that to the alarming levels of poverty. And of course, when such situations happen, people know how much costly fuel has become, so they no longer even care about it. And others just do things without having any hope or having nothing to lose. It's a do or die for them. So in such situations, now people are burnt beyond recognition. Their families don't even know who they are looking for. So it's still a big mystery, and it's something that we Ugandans need to be very attentive to. And also people who have the money to set up fuel stations. I think we really need to act like we are educated. There is no reason as to why you're setting up a fuel station within, next to homes of people.
But Jerome, on that, would we really hold the people setting up fueling stations accountable, or the bodies that give them these licenses? Because before you put up one, you must have a license from an authoritative body. So who are we supposed to hold accountable here?
You know why I'm saying, Olive, that people who have the money to set up these fuel stations, before you even go you go to NEMA and other regulating bodies to pick the licenses of setting up a fuel station per se. You get to realize that you're going to do a study of where you're going to set up your fuel station.
Exactly.
But what beats my understanding is that you've got to look at the people who own these petrol stations, and many of them are people who you think are educated enough to know the risks attached to where they're putting these stations. Now, again, after that, you then look into the authorities who give out these licenses. Why are you allowing these fuel stations to be in the same vicinity? Because at the end of the day, we are likely to be heading into a situation where some areas will start erupting out of the blue because you're having a neighborhood which is filled up with people's homes, and you're having close to 5 or 6 petrol stations that look like supermarkets in the area. So it's not something we have to look at. But on a good note of things yesterday, Olive and Chirabo, was that in Parliament, as they were having plenary in the morning, the Speaker to Parliament suggested that the traffic officers in Charles Makawa and Tusime Abdallah be brought to Parliament to serve with the parliamentary police. One, because of the incident, for example, with Charles Makawa, he was slapped while on duty. Remember that assault on him by Mercy, a conversation we had yesterday. And then on the other side of Abdallah, because of braving the rains in that video as he was conducting traffic. So the parliamentarians realized that the only way they can also add an effort of supporting and also showing appreciation is by adding the traffic police officers onto the parliamentary unit. So we wait to see how that will come to pass, but that is something Parliament decided yesterday.
But I'm also happy that
Jerem, what that made me think is that sometimes you're one slap away from a promotion.
But I also like the fact that one of the members raised the fact that traffic officers need to be equipped with attires that like raincoats or something like that, that even when it's raining and they're performing.
But they usually have, Robert.
Because it was noticed, according to the MP on the floor, he said some do not have.
Okay.
Yes, some do not have. So they must ensure that they have all that, just like our brothers in the UPDF fraternity. Those that do VIP escorts, if you watch them or you've come across them, rain does not stop them anywhere.
Okay.
They'll still be well dressed and ready for work.
All right. Also, it begs for the other question. Don't we, as the general public, deserve good officers? If we have one good officer on the road and now you're taking him to Parliament, but that is the
all
selfish...
good things belong to Parliament.
All good things belong to
but
Parliament.
the Speaker said he has been working so hard, so let him go and have a rest.
Okay.
And I think when you're working at Parliament, despite the usual pay that you get at police, there is an additional pay that you also get.
All right, Robert, what do we have in the local news?
Well, East African Community, His Excellency says he wishes it kicked off in 1962. That the problems we are having, we wouldn't be having them. Now, the President emphasized the need for East African Community to have a political federation, saying this strategy was to address the problem of poverty and strategic security. He was addressing the opening and special session of the East Africa Legislative Assembly at State House in Entebbe. President Museveni said if the federation had taken off as inspired in 1963, all chaos in East Africa would not have happened. He said East Africa needs a federation which, if it had achieved earlier, it would be very peaceful, citing Amin in Uganda and the chaos in Burundi. Museveni emphasized brotherhood, people trying to unite, and the strategic fight against poverty. Moving on, 11 people were confirmed dead and scores injured after a fuel tank caught fire at Kigowa town along Kampala-Gulu Highway. The accident occurred at around 3 p.m. in Kigowa town when a fuel tank, registration number UAM 29-2Q, from Kampala heading to Gulu overturned and caught fire in Kigowa town. According to Patrick Onyango, the Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson, the accident claimed the lives of 11 people on spot, including 9 adults and 2 children. The victims were burnt beyond recognition. Unfortunately, people who rushed to siphon fuel from the tank were the most affected, said Onyango. Onyango added that the 4 buildings housing 9 shops were destroyed in a blaze and property worth millions of shillings were lost. Scores of residents were also injured and rushed to various health facilities for treatment in Matuga as well as Kawempe Hospital, among others, for treatment. The police is yet to confirm the identities and the number of injured since they are still under treatment with severe burns. Police has also transferred the remains of the injured persons to City Mortuary in Kampala. Police has since contained the fire and cleared the highway. Government of Uganda has been applauded for upholding the basic human rights of refugees by ensuring their dignity and safety. This was during a meeting of the Prime Minister Robin Anabanja with the Muslim charity, a UK-based non-governmental organization, at her office in Kampala. In another development, the Prime Minister was recognized by Centenary Bank for winning a United Nations Global Award recently. Currently, Uganda hosts 1.7 million refugees. Majority of them are from South Sudan and DRC. The Muslim charity, a UK-based non-governmental organization, are in Uganda to reaffirm their commitment to supporting the needy communities, including refugees. The Muslim charity were led by the Senior Presidential Advisor on Gender and Youth, Florence Nachiwala-Kiyingi, to a meeting with the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robin Anabanja. Nabanja called on the Muslim charity to support Uganda in a range of sectors geared towards fighting poverty, especially among the underprivileged. In another development, the Prime Minister was also recognized for her good work and winning global award. And finally, from the local scene, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development is yet to respond to queries raised by the Leader of Opposition, Joe Senyonyi, on the management of Roko Construction Company. Minister of State for Finance, General Duties Henry Musasizi lashed at the LOP's action of oversight visit to the headquarters of Roko, questioning the procedure. This led to verbal exchange among a section of members of Parliament. From Parliament, Daniel Mugoya was there and covered all this. Recently, the Leader of Opposition, Joe Senyonyi, and members in the opposition wing were blocked from an intended oversight visit to Roko Construction Company headquarters in Kawempe, Kampala. When the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, learnt about the matter, she requested LOP Senyonyi to present a report on the visit. On Tuesday plenary session, LOP Joe Senyonyi presented the report questioning the funds to the tune of 263 billion given to Roko as bailout by government. LOP Senyonyi defends the move to carry out an oversight visit, but the State Minister for Finance, General Duties Henry Musasizi, questioned the criteria informing the LOP's decision to carry out the oversight visit at Roko headquarters wasn't called for.
Now we move on and look at what's coming in from the international scene, where Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, has met Israeli leaders in a bid to revive Gaza and Lebanon ceasefire push. Now, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to revive ceasefire talks to end the war in Gaza and pressed for more aid to be allowed to enter the Palestinian territory. Blinken arrived in Israel on Tuesday on his 11th visit to the Middle East since the war in Gaza began more than a year ago. It is his first trip to the region since Israel escalated its conflict with Hezbollah late last month. The visit got off to an inauspicious start as Hezbollah launched medium-range missiles towards Tel Aviv, temporarily shutting down Ben Gurion Airport, where Blinken landed, according to Israeli media. At the meeting in Jerusalem, the U.S. official pressed Netanyahu to capitalize on Israel's killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar last week in order to bring the war in Gaza to an end. Blinken underscored the need to capitalize on Israel's successful action to bring Yahya Sinwar to justice by securing the release of all hostages and ending the conflict in Gaza in a way that provides lasting security for Israelis and Palestinians alike, U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said after the talks. Now moving on to Europe, Dominic Pellicot, the 71-year-old Frenchman accused of drugging and raping his then-wife Giselle and recruiting dozens of other men online to come to their home and rape her while she was unconscious, told the hearing Tuesday morning that the 50 defendants in the mass trial all knew that they were being invited to sexually assault her. Giselle requested that the trial in the southern city of Avignon be made public. The trial in the southern city of Avignon be made public to raise awareness about the use of drugs to commit sexual abuse. I am a rapist, a 71-year-old Frenchman accused of drugging his wife so he and scores of strangers could assault her, told a court on Tuesday, returning to the dock after being ill for around a week. Dominic Pellicot used a cane as he slowly entered the courtroom in the southern city of Avignon before sitting on a blue armchair to give him enough comfort to take part in the hearings. I am a rapist like the others in this room, Pellicot said, referring to the other 50 defendants in the mass trial, men he allegedly recruited online to rape his then-wife, Giselle Pellicot. They all knew that he was inviting them to rape her, he said. Now coming back to Africa, the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament has suspended proceedings indefinitely following chaotic scenes in the chamber over a row about which party holds the parliamentary majority. Last week, it was discovered that 4 members of parliament had switched allegiance and would run for different parties in the December 7th general election. Speaker Alban Bagbin then declared that their seats were vacant, arguing that the constitution does not allow members of parliament to defect. In a finely balanced parliament, that decision, which is being challenged in court, means that the opposition National Democratic Congress has become the majority party. Last Friday, President Nana Akufo-Addo's New Patriotic Party went to the Supreme Court to ask if the Speaker had correctly interpreted the Constitution. The judges asked the Speaker to suspend his declaration until they made a decision. It is not clear when their judgment will come to the fore. And that ends our international news. Now Jerome Paul takes us through the press review.
And well, of course, with the press review, we start with the New Vision as doctors face dismissal over part-time jobs. This is according to what the New Vision is highlighting. And at the same time, President Museveni sacks Masaka medical officer for absenteeism. That is a report that you can find in today's New Vision. And then in crime, mixed reactions as 129 prisoners are pardoned. Find more of that report in the New Vision today. Then also, 11 killed, several injured in fuel tanker fire as EU envoy called for more railways funding. A pictorial of the EU convoy led by the head of the EU delegation to Uganda, Jan Sadek, and alongside the Uganda Railways Corporation Managing Director, David Bolenga Musoke, as they were commuting using the train from Kampala to Mukono. Then in matters tradition, Bunyoro King is now out of hospital. Then in religion, televangelist Benny Hinn set to return to Uganda. Find more of that in the New Vision. Then also in the Daily Monitor, tanker of terror, says the Daily Monitor. Tragedy, at least 11 people lost their lives and 20 others sustained injuries after a fuel tanker that had overturned in Chigogwa in Nansana municipality in Wakiso district burst into flames. Now, in the homes perspective, Professor Lillian Namuganyi's journey through homes, find more details of that in the Daily Monitor. Now, excel in PLE, find questions of English, mathematics, science and social studies. Then also, in the other news, 1 in 4 adults have high blood pressure, is a new health report, as Uganda demands more support to host refugees. Then President Museveni mocks banning government doctors from private practice. And then lastly, from our press review, we head to Kenya, the Daily Nation. Eyes on judges, fight for justice. The ousted Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's lawyers take on the bench. And there's more to do with the court drama there. Then Varsity Dons issue another strike notice in pay dispute. As parenting, I mourned the loss of my breasts. Find more in the Daily Nation. Now, Ruto's big win as court upholds his pet housing plan. And then also, detectives probing job scam suspects moved to Boni Forest and the far-flung stations. That is with the Daily Nation, bringing us to the end of our press review this Wednesday.
Well, thank you, Jerome. Now, as the U.S. election comes close on November 5th, we will be giving you updates regarding the same. So stick around so that you get to know what is happening, how far is Kamala Harris, and also how far is Donald Trump. And the $1 million giveaway that Elon Musk promised those who register to vote or who signed a certain petition. How far with it? Because it had lawmakers questioning whether it was legal or not. We will be giving you those details later on. But for now, we'll leave you with this inspiration song of the day.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
How are we going to play politics under the prevailing circumstances? I want, first of all, to make this disclaimer. Politics under the prevailing circumstances cannot be played as normal. Normal party, delegates conferences, then you have this or that. It has got to go beyond that. Because the circumstances are not normal. Why? We have a pervasive, deepening, deepening and probably expansive capture. State, institutional, our voices, our powers, people, and our dignity. That has bred misrule in many corridors of this country. That has bred dictatorship and cultism, mafia cultism. Whether, talk about it, whether in the NRM,
or in the
opposition, other institutions, including faith-based institutions. Politics cannot be played as normal, where you have a mass so-called building, like we have, where people say, they never make mistake, they're like demigods, all these things that we hear, giving themselves names, Mutawaburwa in Uganda, Mutawaburwa elsewhere, that can work. And he's talking about democracy, and he's right. So what we're gonna do is, sometimes we shall have to do a mix. While we appreciate we have our institutions, we must also, which can democratically try to clean up their houses, but we must also appreciate that there are things that we cannot change given the prevailing circumstances. And here is what now calls to be innovative in our strategic approach. Without necessarily shedding, and we all want to stop the shedding of blood simply because of an election, the dividing of the country. And we were looking for that single candidate as opposition. We are not one party as opposition. Now, some of us go back to the drawing board because these boxes work. Every other time we have come up with some innovation, these big boxes work. And we trust them. While we brought the one, you remember the one-to-one model we had brought last time? Now everyone else in the opposition saying, oh, maybe if we had used it. We are going to hammer this one more, the one-to-one model, the blocking of parties. But this time round, and I'm going to sell this to some of my opposition, while we have tried to work to get a single candidate, maybe that is not the only route how we can get a unified product, a unifying product. Yeah, we may leave people to have several candidates, but again get a product that we want. I'm not going to tell you how. But I've told you these boxes work. So we must learn from our past experience and not get bogged down. We are still looking for that single candidate. What if we don't get them? But there is the ultimate goal that we want to achieve. So we are now working as DP block, and soon or later I'll come and invite you to come and cover this. It will be a great innovation, and I'm sure it will take us somewhere.
Now, but you're saying you're coming from different fronts. You seem to already have a candidate in mind. I remember at that press conference you declared a candidate.
We said Mpuga is one of the most prepared. I have ever stood as a presidential candidate. I'm here.
Yes.
I've not, and I told people, even if I'm not a presidential candidate, I can work well as the revolutionary leader. It has worked in other countries. You see, we have to look at different models, comparative studies. Well, for example, in that speech, if you heard what I said, well, I don't like what happens in some countries, but you can buy certain things from those models. For example, the Iran model. Here, they led a revolution. Theirs was. But they led a revolution. The leaders are, and then the revolutionary leaders are also there. I'm not saying that is the best model, but you learn something. For example, there are certain things we have to learn from. While we want Mr. Museveni out, but there are certain things that he has done smart. And we need to learn from them if we want to achieve the ultimate goal. So, studying from what has happened, for example, we have had our neighbors, Kenya, the Azimio la Umoja, the Kenya Kwanza, the NAC. These are all examples that we can learn from. Can you have an arrangement? And that's where we get the block thing. That's where we get you have an arrangement which is Azimio la Umoja-ish. And you have different ODM, this, that, and you go and contest an election. While the constitution may not give you a lot of space, the Ugandan constitution, but there is still some space somewhere if you're innovative enough. Kenya Kwanza, then South Africa.
For you to
today, probably ANC would be out of power. I mean, well, let our heads work.
Mukaku, very interesting. The heads are going to be rolling and working. NRM is saying they're very, very prepared. Well, time seems to be flying. Not so much a vibe.
But also the most important thing is I want to protect my brother. I want to protect President Museveni. As they move, they get out of power. Can they also enjoy the next government? Can they also enjoy the next status quo? Like Moi enjoyed in Kenya, like Nyerere enjoyed in Tanzania. I give these two examples, not the Mandela ones, because the Mandela is a different, he did well, he steps aside. But there were guarantees that were given to Moi. And I want to give them, because I have an obligation and duty to protect them, not to cut their throats. Like some people think that even in the opposition, when you have to, you must take Mukaku's head off. That is stupid. That is backwardness. That is not something we must allow in this country.
Mukaku, the way you're hopeful for 2026, as victory coming to your side, and then your preparation strategy is still in the making, is really very tactful here.
It may not come 2026, but it will come.
Oh, Ambassador, it may not come 2026, but it will come. At least a journey has begun from them. Now, coming back to the NRM, yes, party cohesion, we've said, is very, very important. But also, within NRM, Recently, I was hosting people who are talking about the vote protection unit, something like that. His Excellency came out and said he was rigged of about 1 million votes. And this is an election under his governance, though Electoral Commission is an independent body, and moreover rigged by the opposition National Unity Platform. So this time around, how are we avoiding such incidences, if at all they did happen?
Absolutely. Of course, the first point that I would want to make is that the President Yoweri Museveni, is the biggest consumer of intelligence information in the country. There is not any other person who consumes as much intelligence information as he himself. And therefore, he is privileged to access all sorts of information about anything, including elections, and how they were conducted, and of course, the rest is history. He made a statement, and I want to believe that he based that statement on the information that he had got from informers and all those kinds of things, and therefore probably that's something that should give us an opportunity as a country, that we should plug those holes so that nobody at the end of the day says that elections have been rigged, whether it is NRM saying that elections have been rigged, whether it is DP and so on and so forth. So we need to plug those holes and make sure that the election or the electoral process is as clean as it should be, because once the election process and even the campaign process itself is as clean as it should be, or they should be, then there's not going to be anybody complaining about how the entire process was conducted. Extremely important. So given the fact that he said those things, I think he must have definitely got information that those kinds of things were happening. And I am sure that is the reason why his statement has given birth to the protection unit. But of course, there are so many other, security agencies that will be on ground and ensure that the electoral process and the campaigns go on as expected, peaceful, so that everybody can present their manifestos. He says that he may replace us in 2026, and then he will protect us. But I also want to assure him that we are protecting him at the moment, because he will get out of this studio even after talking his political things, and nobody's going to scratch him even by a particle. So
these things of taking me to the safe house
protecting
no longer going to be.
In any case, wait, once you break the law, once somebody breaks the law, and my brother here
I've never been convicted, but I've gone to so many safe houses,
my brother here has enjoyed his freedoms as much as he could, and it's because, of course, that protection has been extended to him by the current government. And so in future, if God willing,
he should,
his group takes over the responsibility of running this country. It will be his obligation. It will be his obligation to protect me, just like we are protecting him, so that he doesn't have any political injuries. Any political injuries on his skin. So it's extremely important, and that is a bona fide argument that whoever is in the government must protect not only his supporters or their supporters,
yes,
but also those who oppose him. It is a very, very big responsibility.
Well, time seems to be flying, and I have to give room for Ruben Pima Kasera Chibirango to come in with sports updates. But I just want to give each one of you a minute as we come to the end of this particular segment of Good Morning Uganda. I'll begin with Walter Lubega. I have 10 minutes for Ruben to do his sports updates. Okay. Lubega, your parting shot, 2026 opposition, the DP bloc.
My parting shot is that in this struggle that we are in this effort, in this now looming national campaign, it's important to think about a vehicle, recreating and reconstructing a vehicle, people power vehicle, that has every room for everyone in this country to make a contribution, right from NRM to the rest of us and to those who don't have parties, different generations, different background, different statuses. Secondly, is to ensure, whether you are in the NRM, even my colleagues, make sure that this time around we turn around the country by bringing and coalescing quality leadership. Because it's quality leadership that will help this country come out of its doldrum and its major crisis that it's going through. And also focusing on the unresolved issues. To start with, electoral, constitutional, and political reforms.
Well, thank you so much, Samuel Walter Lubega Mokaku from the DP bloc. Basada Maiga, as we move out.
They say that Rome was not built in a day. The Americans have had democracy for the last 228 years. And they're still grappling with a few things here and there, especially campaign finance and the rest of the things. And of course, you remember the other day, even there were two attempts on Donald Trump in what you would call a civilized country. But of course, those kinds of things are not the ones that we would wish for our country. So they've had democracy for the last 228 years. Uganda had a referendum in 2005, and so we have made 19 years on the democratic path. And that trajectory, in my view, is very encouraging. So let's keep the peace, security, and stability so that we can enjoy our country. We move towards elections and have them, and then have, he said, quality leadership.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. 2026 is not very far from us. One thing that...
Yeah, giving birth. I recommend all hospitals actually to buy this, because sometimes you find midwives cannot really deliver very well if they receive, if you are giving birth and maybe a mother urinates in your eyes. And at the end of the day, you have to run away and so on and clean yourself. So these are very, very important. I see them with doctors, but they're also necessary for us. I am showing you a lot of things that we receive. This one is a very important instrument also, whereby you have to listen to the fetal heart of the baby once they reach in the hospital. You can also, after delivery, you can see this. This is a sucker. The babies are supposed to be sucked. This is also another thing that is very important, a thermometer. You can see these are very many thermometers, and we have received very many of them. So you can see them. They help us. They help to measure the temperature. There is also this. This is a weighing scale. Very strong. This kit costs like around 30 million. Each box can go for 10 million. And you can see how these partners have been helping us for almost now. We are going to reach almost 3 years. They have been giving us very important things. There are drugs here, very many drugs in that last box. The drugs help also during delivery. So these are things we recommend government really to give us so that we can reduce maternal child health. Syringes are also there. Giving sets are also there. We have everything here, and we are recommending government to help the midwife. We want the midwife to be safe while delivering. We know many of you want to help a baby and you don't want to help. A baby and a mother, you want them safe, but a midwife is also equally very important. So you can see this innovation whereby someone has packed all the things that a midwife needs. Catheters, good. These are catheters. You know, when you deliver a mother, sometimes they can get complications down there, and they will need this. Before some of them, this helps to a mother who is getting difficult to pass urine. So you can imagine they didn't leave anything. They didn't leave anything. I cannot mention all of them, but they did not leave anything. This is for babies, like to cover the babies. So everything is here. When we reach in the hospitals, we need you to keep them safely, like we have distributed already so many health centers. Some we have been distributing these kits. I can mention some of the health centers that have actually received. In all regions, Amudat, Buko, Kazo, we have gone up to Anaka. We have gone so many areas. Nurses and Midwives Union does not only go for strikes like you think. For us, we advocate, we lobby for the nurses and midwives who are our members.
Well, you are watching Good Morning Uganda. This is our newsreel, and as you just saw in that video, there are midwifery kits. Now, normally you hear about mama kits for pregnant mothers, especially those that cannot afford to have certain essentials as they go to deliver. But now there are also midwifery kits, and Robert Chirabo, seated right next to me, has more information on that. Good morning once again, Robert.
Good morning to you, Olive, the lady in black, I must say.
Okay. Now, the midwifery kits, please tell us more about them. We've watched the video. These are big boxes. I didn't even know that there was something called the midwifery kit. So in there, what would you say is inside those boxes?
Now, first, that was the Secretary General Uganda Nurses and Midwifery Union. Now, they have their friends in the USA.
Yes.
And these, for the last 3 years, have made it a must to send those boxes you see. Now, those boxes are three. One contains instruments, like you can see. Then the other contains consumables, and another one contains consumables. Now, a kit consists of those 3 boxes, like you see them. So a health facility is given those 3 boxes. One that has instruments has all the instruments needed by a midwife to help a mother give birth. That's why you have been seeing the scissors, the gauze, the weighing scale for the baby. I'm not a nurse nor a doctor, but you are a woman. You know that they use to feel the heart of the baby. Anything you can talk about.
The
like you can see, those are they bowels, whatever they are. Every instrument. Then the third box contains medicines that are given after birth or before in case there is anything detected. Then the other has the gloves, that's the weighing scale, that when a baby is born, of course they put there, they must know the weight of the baby. Now the other has the aprons, the various gloves. I don't know, they're not called glasses, but something you put on the eyes in case during delivery the blood can splash on you. So why it's called a midwifery kit is that it contains everything. Those 3 boxes, you can see what she has on her eyes.
Yes.
Then also this is stethoscope, the doctors wear too. So all equipment, it's a hospital in its way. And you find that the consumables may work on about 300 mothers.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So these kits, they cost, how much are they altogether?
A kit costs about 30 million Uganda shillings.
Wow.
Now this time they received about 120 kits. Last year they received about 150 kits. So what they do, they give them free of charge to various health center. Basically, they give to health center force. Why? Because you find that most of these equipments, you may find them at regional hospitals. But at health centers, force, they are not there. So they receive them, then they go donating to various health centers. The aim is to ensure that most of the times, they think about the lady giving birth and the baby. But they forget to think about the midwife.
That's right.
When you go to hospital, you find that there's so much concentration on the lady, but the safety of a midwife, what she needs to perform. So what this union does is they'll identify a gap, then they'll give you that entire kit. Now, for the instruments, they can work even up to 20 years. But for the reusables, the gloves, of course, you throw away.
Yes.
The aprons and all that. So basically, their aim is to ensure that with their partners, based in the United States, that she was talking about, they ensure that the midwives who are members of the association, because it is Uganda Nurses and Midwives Union, can be aided. It's not only advocacy for we want more salary, we want this, but how do they look at how they can effectively perfect their work? They even have some headlights, these boxes, so that maybe if you're working in a remote area, there is no electricity, you still have the light. These issues of a mother giving birth using a candle, using a
I wouldn't know. Robert, Magezi Maganda, so I don't know.
Tadwa must be there in English. I trust you, my dictionary. What are you doing to me today? I need tadoba in English.
There is the lantern, which is a tala, but I don't know what tadoba means. But for those who probably have never seen one, by the way, there are so many people in this generation that have never seen a tadoba. It is what we used to use, I think, in place of a candle. Yes, though for it used kerosene.
I love the fact that my co-host here will speak of these things. It is what we used to use.
Yes.
But now you no longer.
Because they used to lead to many fires in different homes. So I think they're off market. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know if they're off market. So to prevent where you hear that a midwife uses a tado because you fail to get the English thing, I'm told it's not there, to help deliver. Now, with such a kit, that information is there. However, they still have a challenge.
Yes.
Because I was reliably informed that I think last year they even had some of these things that got expired in their stores. Now look at this. This is a donation, and there is a need for people to use this equipment. But they have a challenge when it comes to transport. Because, for example, it is a union, but they have to transport these things, say, to Chegwegwa. Say if they find it in Karamoja. Now, they have to find transport. And these are not things you can put on a bus or a taxi, because these are medical equipment.
Yes.
They are medicines. They have to go under proper transportation methods. Now, the biggest challenge there is that they find it very, very hard to transport them, because if you looked at their store, it was full of boxes and boxes. They're like, Robert, we are ready to give anywhere. But how do we get there? We don't want to give in Kampala, where maybe somehow we want to go to the remote ends of this country.
Why not Kampala?
Because they believe Kampala, for example, we have Morago Kawempe. Is it that? There are some facilities.
We have Kawempe, we have Chirudu, we have...
They will tell you, at least there are some bit of basics.
Yes.
But the health center force you'll go to away from Kampala, and you wonder the magic the midwives use there. You know, the situations are so dire. She was telling us that the situations, the Munaku Tadoba I've talked about, there are still health centers that you may find. Now, this is like a hospital. A woman can be helped to deliver anywhere when you have this kit. Anywhere, because the medicines are there. Everything you need is there. Now, they are saying, help us take them. Government, provide transport. Sometimes also they say that much as there are some waivers, but there are some funny taxes they don't understand.
Wait, these were gifts, donations given. And why are they taxes? Why are their taxes levied?
Free of charge.
Thank you. So why are there taxes being levied on them?
Now that is what we can't understand. But that is also a challenge I've found with a number of people who bring in aid. One time I was discussing with Mr. Seninde, Zephania Seninde. He was then the special envoy. I don't know if he's still the special envoy of Ugandans living in North America. Now, they were given medical equipment worth $1 billion shilling of Uganda. The people who gave them the equipment were ready to ship the equipment to Uganda. Now, they were stranded with taxation. But these were some things, these were donations, and they were going to donate them. They're even telling government, if you want, we hand over to the ministry. So you go, you do what? You donate. I think there is something, there was a waiver, but there's still some...
I guess we'll have to have a conversation with you at one time to make us understand why gifts, donations are taxed. Yes.
And more so medical donations.
Medical donations,
which you won't tell me that I'm going to put in my shop and sell. They should be 100% exempted from any form of taxation. And there shouldn't be an iota of taxation anywhere. If you want, follow them up. If you want, say you've brought medical donations, you're going to give to these hospitals. These are the hospitals available. Now we will follow you up to see if you've donated and you've not sold any. Or you say, show us your stores, we put our padlocks there, You know, you put our padlocks there, we'll be the ones to come and open as you're taking out. Because it is very hard to explain to a donor who is giving you equipment. I told you each box, each kit is about 30 million Uganda shillings, if I've not underrated it. Now imagine this amount of money to be someone giving you 150 kits. And then you go and tell them, but now how do we do with ability? One, you have mentioned the transport issue. How are we going to get them? You expect the donor to do that. Then again you say, but we have some taxes. We may have to pay about, I think the last I had about 10 million tax. So the donor may not understand you.
So Robert, in your opinion, what solutions would you suggest the government takes? The government, yes. What solutions should the government establish to ensure that when gifts of this nature come in, that nurses are helped? Like we have a case in point right here. We have PPE that has been given to nurses for free. It needs to get to health centers, and they have issues, challenges, among others, transportation. So how can the government help?
Well, since these are basically things to save life, and we know these should have been even provided by the government, the only challenge I think is money. Now, it is very, very important, in my opinion, that government finds transport means. Because government, one, when I go to Ministry of Health, the few times I've gone there, I've seen a fleet. I've seen a fleet of vehicles there. And I know they have the capacity. And I know they also have the capacity to do what? To be able to transport majority of these things. So there should be a partnership through which Ministry of Health can find ways of ensuring that they can be able to pattern and provide transport means. I think that is very, very important.
Yeah, it is. Well, we will come to the end of this. We have come to the end of this conversation. And I would like to remind you that we have election updates for the US elections that are going to take place on the 5th of November, 2024. Will it be Donald Trump once again, or it will be Kamala Harris for the first time, a female president in the country which says it is free and everyone has rights? We will be bringing you those updates every single day just before 8 o'clock. So stick around. Up next is tourism updates and business after that. And after that, we will have the US election updates. Stay tuned.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Basabo ne banyabo Kasita Quality Awards 2024 zizino era zaakubaayo ku Lwokutaano 25 Oktoba 2024 ku IUEA Auditorium e Kansanga wansi w'omulamwa Celebrating Excellence Inspiring Innovation. Jangu twegatteko nga twebaza abasuubuzi ne bannamakolero bonna olw'omulimu omulungi gwe bakola. Okumanya ebisingawo okuba ku ssimu noti 772 594 noti M22 oba noti 773 M53 898 oba noti 7 881 noti 39 451 watusange Kampala ku Uganda Market Street Royal Complex Building omwaliro ogwokusatu suti emu Kasita Quality Awards 2024 ewagiddwa Deposit Protection Fund, Gentex, Tembo, Insurance Regulatory Authority, IUEA, BBS, Movit, Shria Pads, Pride Microfinance and Jubilee Alliance.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
A very good morning to all our viewers. Thank you so much for sticking around. My name is Erin Alena Misango and this is the GMU Tourism Express. We talk about all issues and matters that concern Uganda's tourism. Now today we are talking about agrotourism, and you know this is one of the potentials in tourism that we have somehow been ignoring and we've not given it attention. Yet when you look at Uganda's weather, it is one of the best weather conditions that you ever have that you ever find in the world. And then when it also gets to the soils are so fertile that you can literally just throw somewhere your bean seeds and then they grow up out of the blue. So it is very important that we get to understand the potential in agrotourism so that we are able to grow agrotourism, getting more tourists to come and learn about the different farming methods, to learn about the different crops that we grow, from fruits, coffee, cash crops. There is a lot that we grow in Uganda, and our soils can really maintain almost everything. So today with me in studios, I'm with Sandra Nabasidye, the slave farmer. If I say the slave farmer, I'm very sure you've seen her or you've met her somewhere on social media, because she's one of the farmers that have really grown to embrace the digital spaces to improve agriculture and also merge agriculture with tourism. So today we are going to have more details on can really agrotourism become the next frontier to boost Uganda's tourism revenue? How is the potential and all that? So Sandra, good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
You look amazing.
Thank you. I'm a farmer.
You're a slave farmer. So.
Yes, I'm a farmer. Farmers always look nice.
I know.
We grow our own food and we eat it. Thank you for having me.
That is nice. Sandra, you've been in this industry, and I should say that I commend your work.
Thank you.
You work with different brands and promote the youths to engage in agrotourism, in agriculture generally.
Yeah.
Sandra, why do you think, or how do you think that agrotourism has the potential for Uganda's tourism?
Why do I think, or how do I?
Okay, why do you think that it has, and how do you think we can boost it?
Well, good morning, viewers. My name is Sandra, like she has mentioned, Sandra Navas here. I'm a farmer, a proud farmer. I think agrotourism can boost the tourism industry of our country in various ways. Because like you mentioned, Uganda is blessed. Natural weather, rather the good weather, the fertile soils, the hills and all that. As a way of encouragement, because I'll talk so much about agriculture, of course, I can't leave it out.
Yeah, of course.
But now, as one way of it's both for tourism and also boosting the agri sector, because when we interest people, especially the young people, to welcome for these activities, well, they're going to let's say in different regions, let's say the eastern region or the western, they look at the beauty of what we have in our country and also they pick interest to engage in agriculture. So what we have already as a country is enough. We have to just explore it. How? By going to those regions, see what is happening there, how can we copy what is happening there to maybe bring in other regions where we come from. Yes.
How do you think that we can engage the local farmers? Because when you look at all this trend that is going on, I think that most of the people that are embraced or that are benefiting in agrotourism are people from the urban sectors that have embraced what? Agriculture. But how do you think the rural farmers can also benefit from this?
Rural farmers are already benefiting because when we, now I'll give an example where we were in Capture of recent, we had a pre-visit. Some of them don't know what is happening in the urban centers or in Kampala. When you tell them that we're coming from Kampala, like, okay, this is interesting. First and foremost, they are assured of market. For market access for their produce, because we're telling them, well, these people in Central don't know what is happening here, and we've brought to them, they need to know where the source of some of these crops that you're growing. So the rural farmers are benefiting market access because they know now the urban people are going in down in their farms and getting things at farm gate price. Secondly, the exposure. You know, another reason is they get to learn about the different agronomic practices, because the rural, like it is rural, they have a way of growing vegetables. Now, if we leave the town, let's say us the slave farmers, tell them, well, you've been growing cabbages like this, there are these other ways of how you can grow, or you can also maybe use other ways of marketing your produce. So that's how they can because they also get the knowledge from us, and also the market, and also the exposure, and also because when we visit, we also promote their areas, their regions. Yes.
Sandra, are there some pilot projects that have been succeeding in agrotourism in Uganda?
A few. You know, a few, I'll be very honest. Because agrotourism is not, I won't say it's not there, but it's something that is, the people, Ugandans have not really embraced, because they feel, well, tourism, agrotourism, it's not a thing. So there are a few pilot projects in different regions, say the Mount Elgon region, then also the western part of the country, in a specific districts, say Fort Poto, Kasese, and also Bushenyi. And now in Mbale they have that coffee, it's called the coffee tourism. You know they are training, they are training Ugandans how to drink coffee. Many of them don't know. I'm sure you also don't know how to drink. So what their campaign is about, because I was there just of recent, they are trying to encourage people to consume the domestic consumption of coffee. That's agrotourism, because we need to teach people how to embrace coffee, because well, coffee is for the whites, for the tourists, that so in those regions, even in Central, I'm yet to find out, but at least I'm sure of those in that's the eastern part of the country and also the western. So they're already there.
In terms of digital marketing, because when you're saying that just a few projects have been successful in agrotourism, probably we've not yet positioned ourselves as a destination for agrotourism, both domestically and internationally.
Yes.
How do you think we can use the digital space to position Uganda as one of the destinations for agrotourism?
That's a country, or me as an individual?
As a country.
Well, I don't speak for the country, but
okay, what you can do, even another farmer can copy.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Now, I think I'll start with the farmers, because it's a digital world, like it or not. We are no longer going back to analog, it's the digital world. So what we have to do as farmers, I'll encourage them, is to promote what we have, on social media, different social media, because you know who is watching. It could be someone in the country or someone outside. And also we should, even the government, by the industry, that's the tourism industry, to embrace agrotourism by engaging real farmers, because they're the ones who understand what agrotourism is about. They're the ones who speak to, you know, this industry. So the digital platforms should embrace them 100%. Let's promote what we do, and then also encouraging other farmers too, because you'll agree with me, not all farmers are on digital platforms.
Yeah.
There are a few. So if we're talking of promoting agrotourism digitally, we have to start by teaching the farmers. These rural farmers that we visit at wait. Don't just grow your things and do how you used to do it 10 years ago, 100, okay, not 100, like 50 years ago. Embrace, maybe even if it's WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, start with that. That way someone will be enticed. We'll see something online and say, well, what is that place? Are they not growing this? Oh, they're not only growing this, but they also have these other beauty. Now look at the falls in CP area. So you find that someone is going to watch the falls, but they're going to see the coffee that is being grown there. They have the coffee experience.
Even they will sleep in hotels.
The cottages, exactly. So it's not just a farmer's call, but everyone who wants to see that agrotourism, you know.
Sandra, currently in tourism there is a trend that is sustainability, and I should say agriculture is one of the ways that we can sustainably grow an economy, because it has that bit of environmental conservation. Don't throw polythene in the soil because it will help you. It won't help your crops grow properly. So there is that environmental conservation attached to agriculture. But how do you think that we can use agriculture or agrotourism to also preserve our cultural heritage?
Well, I think first and foremost, because there are people who don't know about cultural heritage. It all goes back to knowledge and sensitizing people. Sensitization is very, very important, because you can't talk of how do you preserve the cultural heritage and all that without sensitizing people. Some people can be in an area, they don't know about, you know, their culture and all that. So let's first sensitize the masses, you know. Either the platforms are many, either by maybe using digital platforms or adverts on TV or going down there. That would be very easy, because someone will know that, well, if I do this, then I'll lose, you know, the heritage and all that. So let's sensitize them. Then also, I think pretty much that, because once someone knows what they have, how precious it is, then they'll guard it and they'll preserve it.
And then maybe also I've seen some farm tours where they merged like singer talks, project talks.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly that. Now for our tours, we do those storytelling. We have a moment where we do storytelling, but of course it's not about culture preservation and all that, and all that, but networking and knowing, you know, and also knowing about the culture of where we've gone. Because the same way in Bushenyi, we had someone, a native of Bushenyi, to tell us the history, where it's called the Greater Bushenyi, what they do, how the past president Obote loved the area. You guys, so there is a lot that you can learn. Now these farm tours or the agrotourism, we can use it in that way. Leave alone telling the natives or people of the area, but also us who go there. You know, we get those moments of like, now let's say we've converged, let's at our campsite or out where we're sleeping. We get someone to teach us about, let's say, the Sebei region. Do they still do those cultural practices? Let's say the Bugisu area. So that way, even us who don't know about the region, we get to know, and yeah.
So, Sandra, what are some of the exciting activities that you engage in during your farm tours?
It's a long list. But first and foremost, of course, visiting different farms. Different farms. People, do you know, Aaron, do you know that there are people in Central who have not left Kampala in a very long time?
True.
There is a lot of beauty outside, you know. Let's say in Eastern, now I'll talk about Eastern because now that's where we're going. We visit those farms to get to know how are those farmers practicing agriculture, because you might think you know, but then you don't know in the real sense. You know nothing. So visiting farm tours, we do hikes, you know, part of exercise and also networking. We talk about why farming, you know, why, because it's not just about fun and adventure. Well, we combine the two, you know, visiting the agriculture, the farms, and also the fun, to make it more, because that's agrotourism at the end of the day. So those activities, we visit the farms, then we network.
What do you do on the farms?
Oh, on the farms, okay, we pick or in details. All right. Now, depending on the farm, on the enterprises we have, this time we have coffee. You know, coffee is the new gold.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have coffee. we have fish farming rather. We have vegetables. We have Irish and onions. Now for that, what the activities we do, we go and pick berries. Yes, those cherries, hand picking them. Secondly, we also maybe mulch a little bit, because there are some people who have never held a hoe. They don't know what, but they consume food. Yeah. Then another thing, we do camping. We do the campfires. We want the experience to, like, it should be agrotourism, like the experience, not the hotels where you sleep when you're in Kampala. So we do the camping. Then we have the coffee. Now we're going to have the coffee experience. Have you had a coffee experience before?
Yeah.
I was going to be shocked. Exactly, So there are the number of activities, activities that excite participants and also that make them love agriculture, and also the tourism bit of it.
But definitely agrotourism or farm tours are something that I would definitely want to engage in, because they're exciting. Sandra, just your cutting shots to the viewers. Your last words to the viewers.
We are going?
Yeah.
Okay. My last, viewers, where should I? Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I'm a farmer, like I mentioned. I call upon the youth. I know it's about tourism, but yes, agriculture. I call upon the youth to join this amazing industry, to promote our country and also to build our nation, because agriculture contributes to our national GDP. So make sure, rather, I encourage you to enjoy, to join the industry. Also for upcoming tour, I urge you guys to come and join us. It's happening on 6th to 8th. Let me tell them, come and have the real farm experience, the real agrotourism. Join us. It's going to be fun and exciting. Come and network, come and learn, come and it's a lot. I can't exist.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandra, for having you. Unfortunately, I'm going to stop this conversation. However, agrotourism is some potential that we are somehow not venturing into as Uganda, yet it is one form of tourism that could really boost the country's tourism revenues. So it is something that we should definitely think about deeply to see how can we promote it. First of all, we need to engage the youths. We need to engage people to love agriculture more. Then we can position ourselves as an agrotourism destination. Countries like Brazil, Lesotho are really enjoying from this. So Uganda should also be one of the next destinations that are going to benefit from agrotourism. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Erin Alina Misango, and see you tomorrow.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Basebo ne banyabo Kasita Quality Awards 2024 zizino era zakubaayo ku Lwokutaano 25 Oktoba 2024 ku IUEA Auditorium Kansanga wansi w'omulamwa Celebrating Excellence Inspiring Innovation. Jangu twegatteko nga twebaza abasuubuzi ne bannamakolero bonna olw'omulimu omulungi gwe bakola. Okumanya ebisingawo okuba ku ssimu noti 772 590 noti M22 oba noti 773 M53 898 oba noti 781 noti 39 45 watusange Kampala ku Uganda Market Street Royal Complex Building omwaliriro ogwokusatu suti emu. Kasita Quality Awards 2024 ewagiddwa Deposit Protection Fund, Gentex, Tembo, Insurance Regulatory Authority, IUEA, BBS, Movit, Shria Pads, Pride Microfinance and Jubilee Alliance.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, They stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, it's now time for business. Good morning and thank you for sticking around to Good Morning Uganda. I am Joran Paul Sonko. Now, from the world of business, we start off with the India and Uganda trade mission, because Equity Bank Uganda has mobilized Indian investors to exploit the conducive environment, the environment within our investment climate here in Uganda. Now, according to the State Minister for Investment and Privatization, Evelyn Anite, who opened the conference and commended the bank for steering the India-Uganda trade mission. Looking at this trade mission, it's a conference intended to mobilize the Indian investors to continue appreciating the attractive investable climate that Uganda possesses. Now, the mission is also expected to integrate micro, medium and small scale businesses into the international trade value chain. And in the same spirit, the Minister for Investment and Privatization, Evelyn Anite, commended the Indian community for their commitment to power investment within Uganda's economy. Now, the Indian investors will interact with Uganda's investors to find strong areas of collaboration through a private sector foundation. And then also, apart from the domestic incentives to those Indian investors, they are also expected to further interact with small-scale businesses for raw materials, and in turn, the collaboration is likely to improve standard of Ugandan products and also expand markets of this very product. And away from that, but still in matters bilateral relations and business integration, the National Agriculture Research Organization, NARO, has partnered with China's BGI Group to launch the China-Africa Center for Excellence for Regional Perennial Rice Technology. Now, this initiative will promote growing of perennial rice in Uganda to hold the revolution of the agricultural landscape of Uganda. Now, at the launch, the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Frank Tumwebazi, who was represented by the NARO Chairperson Governing Council, Dr. William Olaho, the Minister reaffirmed the government's commitment to collaborate with China to strengthen the agricultural sector. Now, the National Agriculture Research Organization, NARO, signed this memorandum of understanding with the BGI company to introduce the growing of perennial rice within the country. And now, on the other side, the China ambassador to Uganda, Zhang Lizonghong, states that Zhang Lizonghong revealed that the collaboration with NARO will benefit over 9,000 local farmers. Now, the Director General of NARO, Dr. Yona Baguma, revealed that the collaboration will increase food production and household income to farmers. On behalf of the African Union, Dr. Petrus Nabachwa commends NARO for the commitment in discovering various variety of seeds that are resistible to climate, thus pledging more support. Now, the China-Africa Rice Center of Excellence and NARO BGI Memorandum of Understanding has been signed, and it will enhance training of farmers on modern farming, amongst the other things that are supposed to be highly prioritized with commercial agriculture. Well, that said, we now turn our focus on the forex market to see how the Ugandan shilling has been faring on the exchange against other currencies by close of business yesterday. The US dollar was buying at 3,661.45 while selling at 3,671.45. By midday it was buying at 3,660.41 while selling at 3,670.41. Closing time saw the US dollar buy at 3,660.36 while selling was 3,670.36. The Great Britain pound was buying 4,758.46 while selling at 4,771.46. The euro was buying at 3,960.87 while selling at 3,971.69. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.37 while selling at 28.45, and the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.34 while selling at 1.34. And lastly, the South African rand was buying at 208.11 while selling at 208.67. Well, that does it for business this Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow with the latest from the world of business, but as of now, we now turn our focus on to the 2024 US election updates. Well, next month, the United States heads to the polls, and starting from today, Good Morning Uganda will be bringing you up to speed with every development coming in from the United States elections till election day. This time, we will be giving you those updates during the time that we were supposed to be giving you the traffic updates. And kicking it off with our very first in regards to the updates coming along from the United States is that Donald Trump is running mate J.D. Vance addressed a rally in Tucson. Now that is a state in Arizona on Tuesday, where he told the crowd he was likely the only person there who felt bad for Tim Walz, his Democratic counterpart. Now, the Republican vice presidential nominee said he's got to go around and convince the American people that Kamala Harris is somehow going to solve the very problems he has been creating over the last 3.5 years. He accused Kamala Harris of failing to articulate policies on the cost of living and inflation, adding every time they ask her a question, she'll say, well, I grew up in a middle-class family, or she'll talk about Donald Trump. Now, speaking of Kamala Harris, on the side of the team rallying for her to be president is the current president, Joe Biden, who repeated his attack that Trump is a threat to democracy, saying he wants to eliminate and actually physically eliminate, shoot, kill someone who believes to be a threat to him. And Biden then continued and said, I know this sounds bizarre. I know if I said this 5 years ago, you would lock me up. We gotta lock him up. After a pause, he added, politically lock him up. Now, it's an emotive phrase in the US elections, lock her up, which was a controversial chant aimed at Hillary Clinton at the Trump rallies in 2016. And in the recent days, we've had Harris ask her own crowd not to chant, lock him up. And still from the developments coming in from the United States is former President Barack Obama raps Lose Yourself at a rally with Eminem. Now, Barack Obama had treated a rally in Detroit, Michigan to a beat of rapping. Now, his speech even included a bit of rapping, quoting songs by the famous rapper Eminem, a Detroit native. He was sharing a stage with hometown hero Eminem, who offered his full endorsement to Kamala Harris. Now, in the same spirit, Obama has a form for busting into song. On stage, he famously sang Amazing Grace on stage at a memorial event in the aftermath of the 2015 Charleston church shootings. Now, Obama wrapped up his speech after warning the crowd against voting for an older and loonier Donald Trump. And after a pause, he added, politically lock him up. It's the same emotive phrase in US politics, lock her up, that Donald Trump was famously using in his team in 2016 when he won the elections against Hillary Clinton.
Well, more developments and more from the United States elections will be coming your way here on Good Morning Uganda, first from the international updates and also in this election 2024 updates as well, till election day, till we will know who will be at the helm of the United States after Joe Biden's term comes to a conclusion. Well, that does it for that this very morning. But coming up is the Good Morning Uganda agenda, with which Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono takes you back to conversations to do with cooperatives. More of the developments coming in from there are coming up here on DMU.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In the heart of Uganda, a financial revolution is happening. We were once left out, saving the old-fashioned way, with an unexpected saving spot, keeping it too close for comfort. But now, we found a better way to save and manage money. Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial *229 hash. With Wendy, your money is safe and you can earn interest daily. Visit your Google Play or App Store or dial *229 hash to register. Wendy Wanawoli.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Basebo ne banyabo Kasita Quality Awards 2024 zizino era zaakubaayo ku Lwokutaano 25 Oktoba 2024 ku IUEA Auditorium e Kansanga wansi w'omulamwa Celebrating Excellence Inspiring Innovation. Jangu twegatteko nga twebaza abasuubuzi ne bannamakolero bonna olw'omulimu omulungi gwe bakola. Okumanya ebisingawo okuba ku ssimu nooti 772 590 nooti 122 oba nooti 773 153 898 oba nooti 7 8 nooti 39 4 watusange Kampala ku Uganda Market Street Royal Complex Building omwaliriro ogwokusatu suuti emu. Kasita Quality Awards 2024 ewagiddwa Deposit Protection Fund, Gentex, Tembo, Insurance Regulatory Authority, IUEA, BBS, Movit, Shria Pads, Pride Microfinance and Jubilee Alliance.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala, we have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Good morning and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now this chilly Wednesday, I must say, and in case you're coming to Kampala, if you do not have a cardigan, carry something to keep you warm. But in case you're a visitor, we are gifted by nature. We have 2 rainy seasons, and not forgetting this is the Pearl of Africa. And when you finish your official duties, please find time to tour. We have one of the best nightlives in East Africa, but also we are the best gifted when it comes to all aspects of life. Now, this morning, I'm at it again. I'm going to be discussing issues regarding cooperatives, but emphasizing digitalizing cooperatives for transparency and accountability. Now, when you talk about digitalizing, many Ugandans now we know what that means. We moved from the analog system. Some cooperatives were still into having books and a paper. Now we are saying, how do we eliminate the books and paper? Usually we talk about the famous chitabu, so that you cannot get that book that has records and chew it, and then everything has gone to nowhere. But now if things are digitalized, there's so much that we benefit. But I'm not an expert to discuss that. I have a group of 3 gentlemen. My usual suspect, Ivan Asimwe, who is the General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Very smart. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you for appreciating that. Good morning, all our viewers. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
And then on just next to him, I have Lutalo Joseph, who happens to be the Assistant Registrar, Cooperatives and Societies in the Ministry of Trade, Industries and Cooperatives. You're most welcome.
Dear viewers, good morning to you all, and thank you UBC for this opportunity to come and share with us, mainly with the cooperators, as we are trying to social and economically transform our country through the cooperative inclusive movement.
And just next to me, I have a person I'm sure must be a visitor in Uganda. But he comes with a lot of good news for us, most of the cooperators. And that is Espen Kiveland, who comes from Norway and is from, that is Wakida, if I pronounce it right, Norway. Wakanda, that is from Norway. But I have him here. And wherever I failed in pronunciation, he's better to do it for me. You're most welcome to Uganda. You're most welcome to the national broadcaster.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having us. So my name is Espen Kvelland. I'm the CEO in Wakandi Group from Norway. A pleasure to be here.
Well, I want to begin with you visitors first in our culture here. Even when we are serving food, you begin with the visitors. Okay. Now, first, when you talk about this association, this union, Wakandi, what is it all about? Brief, let my viewer know.
So, Wakandi is a fintech company working with digitizing cooperatives all over East Africa. We are a Norwegian company, but we run local entities in both Tanzania, Kenya, and now recently we opened up in Uganda. So we work with the cooperatives, the SACCOs, we also work with MFIs, we help them digitize, get things in order. So we have this digital platform, we integrate with banks, mobile money, and we even have a license from the central bank to be able to work with these kind of transactions that they need. So that's Wakandi.
Okay, now my viewer at least knows exactly what Wakandi does. I'm trying so much to resist the other kind of movie, so my viewer, pardon me when I go that side. Now, yesterday there was a very big function that happened that had the Ministry of Trade, Industries and Cooperatives, that had Wakanda as well, or the Norwegian government there, and the Uganda Cooperative Alliance. It was at Serena Hotel in Kampala. And I saw Ivan very excited and very happy. And many cooperators also were very, very excited and very happy. Now, Ivan, what was this all about? In detail.
Thank you so much, moderator. And as usual, Ivan Asimwe, General Secretary. First of all, I want to begin by appreciating UPC for always giving us such a very wonderful opportunity to come here, share with the cooperators, share with all Ugandans, both here, Ugandans, and also cooperators globally, because globally people are watching and they are following. So we can't take it for granted. It's a very big opportunity. And the cooperators outside there join me to appreciate UPC. Now, you are very right. Yesterday, we had a very wonderful event. In fact, there were two events. He has talked about Wakandi. Wakandi, basically, we have traveled a journey together. Now, I beg that I really have enough time on this, because with my experience in the cooperatives, and especially in the circles, having risen, I rose up to the level of a general manager of the circle. And during that time, we had softwares. A lot of softwares were there. The vendors are so many. But we failed to get a system that is tailored to the business of a cooperative society. You know, I have always discussed this here on TV, that a cooperative is not a company. A SACCO is not a commercial bank. Neither is it an MFI. But a SACCO is a cooperative. Based on the cooperative ideology, the principles, the values, and for that matter, you need to understand how cooperatives function. And when you are developing a software or an accounting system, you need to understand the financial reporting in cooperatives. Now, given that, we had time and sat with Wakandi, like he has explained, it's a fintech. And we came up with a system that speaks to the financial reporting of a SACCO and other types and forms of cooperatives. So that is the uniqueness of this system. It is tailored to the business of SACCOs. I will give like a scenario. During my time as a general manager, you would find there is a system that has been procured, even government procured systems. But this system here, when it comes to computation of interest on loans, take an example, Mr. Chirabo, you know this, that when a SACCO advances the loan to a member, maybe for 1 year, and the member recovers this money in 1 week, you are lucky you have sold your cow, you have sold your land, and you want to pay back. Now, in the SACCOs, we only compute interest for that 1 week and we close the loan. However, in these other banks,
the interest will have already been booked and you pay the entire interest, which is the difference. Now, but with these systems that they had developed, because they had developed systems for companies and commercial banks, the system would not allow you to close that loan with only an interest of 1 week. It would. So what would happen? Practically, you would find that in the manual system, you have closed the loan. But in the system would not allow you to close the loan because the time has not yet reached, and secondly, the entire booked interest must be cleared in order for both the digital and the paperwork to balance. And that one would create imbalances between the two systems. Now, what happens with this one here, because it is tailored towards that business, then you can easily do whatever you want to do. You talk about payment of dividends. It was also a challenge because dividends, whenever at the end of the year when you have a surplus, then you declare dividends, then you do pay as per the shares. But now the complication would be when the how much to be paid as dividend is less than the per value of a share. Then the system still would have issues. So all of those have been catered for in this system. And now if you are a SACCO, you can able use this system. And because we have invested a lot of time, the technical people who have been there, invested a lot of time. Talk about the other types of cooperatives. Talk about coffee. Now you will find that these systems which are being sold to these cooperatives, it has, when it comes financial reporting, it has the component of sales, less cost of sales. And the cost of sales will capture as opening stock, add purchases, less closing stock for accountants. However, in the cooperatives, there are no purchases. Cooperatives, coffee cooperatives don't purchase coffee. They aggregate members' coffee. And the ownership of coffee goes up to the market. As opposed to companies which procure and they have purchases within the accounting system.
So in brief, we can say this system is tailor-made.
Tailor-made for the business of cooperatives in Uganda. So based on that, we now, yesterday, we had to launch, launching the office of Wakandi in Kororo in the morning. And then in the afternoon, there was MOU. In fact, it was signing of 2 MOUs. Now, the first MOU was between Innovation Norway and the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Mr. Rusantaro will give the details. But basically, when you check in the MOU, Innovation Norway and Ministry of Trade are really coming in to support cooperatives. And I want to thank Innovation Norway, the ministry, the government of Uganda, for this very big initiative where they are coming in to support cooperatives in areas of technology, like I've mentioned Wakandi, in areas of marketing, where now these cooperatives will be able to manage, bring together or aggregate their produce together, add value, and collectively market in the international market. Then thirdly, access to finance is also very critical, but he'll give the details. Now, after that, when it comes to implementation now, because Uganda Cooperative Alliance is the apex body, then UCA also signed an MOU with Wakandi. Now that is at implementation level. How do we implement? Make sure that the main MOU is actualized. So UCA came in and signed that MOU. So we are starting immediately to make sure that these cooperators really come together in the equation, and then we move this country together.
Well,
and
I'll go to Rutaro very fast.
Just very briefly, I want to thank the chief guest, who was the Right Honorable Third Prime Minister as our chief guest. We had all the ministers of trade, the permanent secretary. So we are so happy that this is a very big milestone in as far as the cooperative movement in this country is concerned.
I'll be getting back to Ivan later on. Let me go to Rutaro. I'll not go back into the content of the signing because I believe Ivan has really delved into that deeply. But now to the cooperators out there, you know, new things are always new. Rutaro, what is digital migration for the cooperatives? We must understand this, and why.
Thank you very much. I know, like you echoed on it at the start, that at least when we talk of digital, we assume at least almost all Ugandans know, basing on the mere fact that we came from far. You remember when they forced us to transact on airtime on our phones, we had resisted it. So even as cooperators, we are always trying to be, to catch up with time and development. So even as we are trying to transform from our traditional manual way of doing businesses in the cooperatives to digital systems and technologies. So in that kind of transformation from manual, we are going to achieve so many things. One, we will increase on efficiency of how we do our transactions between cooperatives themselves, cooperatives with the other cooperatives, cooperatives with the office of the registrar, cooperatives or Ministry of Trade. And even is communication between, so like for example, we are here with the General Secretary, UCA. He has been communicating with all cooperatives manually through writing documents, whatever. But now with this kind of digital transformation, we are easing that kind of communication. In that, we are easing the accessibility of Ugandans, mainly cooperators, to services from the different stakeholders, but mainly the apex bodies and our office as the registrar of cooperatives. In that, we are building towards sustainability of our cooperatives. Sustainability in a way that we want these cooperatives to fulfill the needs of the current generation of membership in our cooperatives, but also to be able to remain there and help the next generation. Those are the children of the members. But with the kind of traditional way of doing business, it is not very easy. Even in the process, we always even keep losing some of our documentation, which makes it complicated to continue sustainably with managing our cooperatives.
Now, coming to Wakandi, Norway. You're here, you've brought this technology. My viewer is eager to know more about this technology. How is it gonna work? Give us more.
Of course. And I think I want to start with focusing a little bit on the system as it is tailor-made, as you very correctly said. When we started this journey almost 6 years ago, we evaluated many systems that we could use as foundation for building what we wanted to do. That was impossible. And as Mr. Ivan very correctly is stating, many of our competitors, and all well about competitors, you should be very careful about, yeah. But most of them, they buy or rent a system from third parties, which very often is not meant for the cooperative sector. Instead, they get the system and they white label it, as we call it. They take it and they sell it. We believe in a different approach. We invested a lot of money in building a system that is uniquely created for the very unique requirements they have. So it has taken us many years to build it. We have invested a lot of money in it. We just, all the way back from January 2023, we did pilots. And I have to take the opportunity to say a big thank you to all the organizations in Uganda that have helped us, that have guided us. We have to be humble on the fact that even if we are good in writing software, we are not good in understanding all these small details that is important for the sector that we are here to serve. So it's the guidance of the likes as Mr. Ivan in UCA, organizations like TAMFI, UMRA, and of course, Bank of Uganda. So a big thank you goes out to all of them that has been guiding us and helping us to understand and get the system to where it is today. So it's basically all about that, to listen to our customers coming in and keep on evolving. Because it's also very important to say we are not perfect yet. And I think if you have that approach to software, that you will never be perfect, you will always learn more, you will always adjust to the times coming, the changes in everything. I think that's a very important starting point.
Now, that's a very important starting point, no doubt, but I'm looking at someone who is home, a cooperator,
yes,
watching this show, very eager to know, is this an app fine? Okay, it's a software. How does one get onto it? I mean, do we have to have a mobile phone? Does it go to, if you're at liberty to give these details?
Yes. Now, so if I was sitting and writing this piece of software in Europe for Europeans, we would most likely just make an app and be very happy with that. We learned very early that that doesn't work here. So you can interact with the system in many ways. You could download the app, that's possible, for the ones that have a smartphone and wants to go fully digital. We believe that's where we are going, but not everyone is there yet. So we also support using USSD menus. We send out SMSs as receipts, so we don't need to have the app to get the, maybe you contribute to your Sacco, you get an SMS back as a receipt that the payment was done. Very important thing, because there's a lot of fraud in this, unfortunately, in this world. And they can even do fraud when they say that something was paid and they give out a note that is not correct. So this is this accountability that we make, this transparency in the Sacco. And so the app is there, the USSD menus are there, you can use mobile money. So when the Sacco has been onboarded, you can send mobile money using a reference number. Automatically we take that transaction and we reconcile it towards the loan or a saving. You can also use the web interface. And also the beauty for the Sacco is that this is a very important point. You don't need to install any servers. You don't need to buy any expensive hardware. You don't need to pay us a lot of money to be onboarded. We onboard you for free. We don't sell you a system. We are setting up this as a partnership. And I have to, if you allow me, I'm just going to use a few minutes on this because this is very important. I don't look at the cooperators as my customers. I look at them as our partners. A partnership is mutual beneficial. If it's not a proper partnership. So how does that work? Well, we start with digitizing the Sacco. We start with getting the members digital. If the members prefer to still go to the Sacco and do transactions over the counter, we also support that. Because we have to accept that people are where they are on the digital journey. Over time, we do gently guide them towards a digital future because we believe that's where they should end up. But back to the partnership. Instead of selling a software and then running away with the money, and you have to call us back for support, we just charge a very, 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 very small fee every month for the usage of the system. Very small. And it's very easy, and I get this question in a lot of customer meetings. They don't believe it because how can we survive? We are a company, we are here for profit. And here comes the beauty of this platform, because it is a platform. It connects banks, mobile money, insurance. In the future, we will connect credit, more access to credit. And it is in that ecosystem we are making our revenue. And so instead of putting a high cost on the Sacco or the cooperative or the member of the cooperative, we instead set this up as a platform. And I would say I'm pretty proud of the local team that has come up with these models that allow us to get revenue from other places. Yeah.
Now, Ivan, we know usually, given the various forms of cooperatives we have, but the most outstanding here are agricultural cooperatives. And these are people in rural areas. Now, you've been in this movement for some time, like you rightly say. Adjustability, this is something new. But I know all along, how are we going to break even to a person who maybe believes, for me, when I get my money, I take it to the counter, I've seen Ivan, I've registered it there, they give me a receipt, I go back, I sleep. All that receipt even can work, because someone is demanding me, and I show them, tell them, no, you can keep it. You give me, they are going to pay me, keep it. Now here we are going into another direction. Let's look at how easy it will be, or hard, or even your observations into this.
Thank you so much. Like I like using my experience. You know, manual system is very expensive than the digital system. Practically, I have seen it. This is where, like, as a general manager, do you know it would take like a whole month looking for a difference of 500 shillings? Just a difference. What has happened? Someone who comes, he deposits less than 100,000. For you, the other side, maybe on the till sheet, you capture 100,000. On the west sheet, you capture 100. Then when you go somewhere on the controls, you capture 10,000. There's a difference already of 90,000. That difference would take almost 2 months. You deploy all the stuff from the different, because I had almost 6 branches, you would bring all the stuff to come and look for that 90,000. 2 weeks. Isn't it costly? But now when it comes to digital, the moment someone, Ivan, comes to the counter, you enter in the system, automatically it goes through the whole process. It goes to the till sheet, it goes to my ledger, goes to the controls, go to everything, and you can easily, just by a click of a button, get a financial statement there and there. Now, come to financial statements when you're using the manual system. It would take us towards AGM, annual general meeting, 3 months trying to balance and trying now to prepare income statement, statement of financial position, all of that. So it is very tedious, especially the managers who are there. Now, he has mentioned, back to your question, he has mentioned that actually this system can allow whichever way you want to use it. If Ivan is comfortable coming to the counter, then the cashier will be there, receives the money, enters in the computer, and automatically it goes, the money goes to the savings of Ivan's account. If you want, if Ivan has a loan and you want to transfer the money to offset the loan, automatically click of a button, the loan is offset, the interest is captured separate, the principal is separate, it now goes to the whole system, and you have the statements ready. You remember one time we were here, a moderator, when we talked about this experience of Chitabo, the book, someone who sold the book, where, because you are using a manual system, you have collected people's money, there is no accountability, end of December, people want their money, what do? The man now decided to swallow a book because there was no accountability. However, now with the digital system, and I want to call upon cooperators outside there, like I mentioned, a system is cheaper than the manual system. I have done it practically. It is more transparent, you can, accountability is very fast, so it does not really cost you anything. So this is how it is going to help us. Now, if you went to other types and forms of cooperatives, like I earlier mentioned, the beauty with this system, and like he has mentioned, we sat as a team, the Ministry of Trade, Uganda Cooperative Alliance, AMFU, UMURA, and other regulators, because we understand the sector very well. So we have had our input in ensuring that we have a system that is tailor-made to the business of cooperatives, not only circles, but even other types and forms. Talk about agricultural cooperatives. It has been a bit challenging for people to come up with a system that really speaks to the business of a cooperative union. Coffee or milk, take an example of milk. Every day, people bring in their milk. So which system is going to capture that, those entries? Now, milk, you don't take it as a purchase. No, in accounting, when you are using company accounts, it's not a purchase. People are bringing milk, these are members. They are aggregating milk through their cooperative society. And then after the month, they will be paid their money. Then after, any money that comes in as a surplus, it is paid back to the members. And then at the end of the year, if let's say it is coffee, these ones who are supplying through fair trade, there is also premium payment. So how do you capture the mode of payment? How do you capture those transactions? You need a system that is tailored to that business. And now Wakandi is the solution.
Well, cooperators, there now change comes, and it is always very good to adopt to change. And you can't resist change. If you want to resist change, change will change you. You can't overcome. But now this is change that comes with so much advantages. Most when it comes to transparency. and promoting accountability. Now, so I want to bring in Lutalo. We want to look at some of the key aspects of the mobile and web-based system.
Thank you very much, moderator. Dear Ugandans, mainly my fellow cooperators, the Ministry of Trade, with the help of our other stakeholders, you said, Feed the Future, and so many, even Wakandi, and so many stakeholders, we came up with a cooperative registry management information system. This cooperative management information system, it has so many aspects which it will be offering, or services to be offering to cooperators. But I can give you an insight on some of the different services we will be offering. First and foremost, this system will help us to digitalize our services. When I talk of our services, meaning it provides for a platform through which we can come up with online transactions in so many ways. I can tell you, we've been registering cooperatives because that is our mandate. We register cooperatives. But I can tell you, people have been moving all the way, for example, from Moyo, coming to Kampala to Farmers House to deliver a file for registration. Then after delivering, submitting, the person will go back to Moyo. Now we'll have to come back after 2 weeks. Sometimes it can go beyond. It depends on the different whatever scenarios going on around the environment. So what happens is, this system, it is going to ease making some of those transactions. Someone would come to Kampala all the way from Moyo, Agago, to come and file what we call annual returns. After the general meeting, they have to come and file annual returns to deliver those documents. Then it depends. We can tell him to come back for the approval, acknowledgement. Then after another week, just a mere satisfying the certificate, someone will travel from all the way to come to Kampala. Accessing maximum liability. Even making some of these simple inquiries, some people they have been coming to our office. So this system is going to help us to everything will be online, whereby the leaders of our cooperatives will be able even to make transactions from their offices, sometimes even from home. You can send a letter when you're at home. After sending the letter, we will do our part and we make prompt responses. So in that digitalization services, simply it will also ease communication between the registrar or the Ministry of Trade with cooperators. And that communication will also be able to provide a simple way of even sharing knowledge. Because these cooperators, when we register a cooperative, they become like our children. Children need guidance for them to grow. Even these cooperatives, they need guidance. But sometimes we can't offer the needed guidance because of the distance between the Ministry of Trade and our people on the ground. But with this communication, everything will be online. You want any kind of guidance, clarification, you just send an email, an SMS, and someone will respond there and then. 2, this system has provided tools to digitalize our processes, automation of our processes. When I talk about automation of processes, I mean, like, for example, streamlining the procedures in the way we are offering services. By streamlining these procedures, it means we will be able to avoid some of the unnecessary repetitive steps or activities in offering our services. You find that with the manual systems, we even go through some processes which are not called for. Like the way Bwana General Secretary has mentioned, in the manual way of doing business, even a simple mistake, you can end up detecting it at the end of the process. And it takes you days and time, even increase the manual power to correct that simple mistake. For example, people submit documents, but not all of them can be thorough. Now, after I have analyzed the file, I will make a phone call. Sometimes, remember, we are talking to our local people. I may fail to explain what is needed to be collected, and the person travels from Moyo, from Mubuga in Kisoro, purposely to come and collect a simple mistake. Then later he goes back. After going back, then later you call back, and the certificate is ready. Now the person comes back and picks the certificate. And also, in that way, we will be able to reduce on the manual errors. And in reducing the manual errors, we will increase on the sustainability of our cooperatives. 2, many stakeholders, including UBC itself, you have ever requested for some kind of statistical data relating to cooperatives. With the manual systems, there is some statistical data which you can't have. If you tell me that I need how many women or youth or people with disability in our cooperatives all over the entire country, I may not be able to do it. But this digital system, it will be giving us statistical and insights on what is happening with our cooperatives. In that, it will help to improve on our decision making, and also will be able to make strategic planning for our cooperatives, for the government and its agencies, and even our stakeholders. Like I have told you, there is no any institution which can grow without stakeholders. And I have liked the language which my brother from Wakanda has used. That they are not looking at our cooperatives as customers. No, that is the language most people have. No, it is a partnership, a collaboration between Wakandi and our cooperatives. So these systems, they are making offering advisory services to our cooperatives very simple.
So the benefits of these systems are endless.
Yeah, time will come.
If might.
Time will come when I will not need to go to Mubuga to make of whatever physical training in the governance. No, time will come when we could be doing it on the system. With the help of these stakeholders who are coming on board, like the Wakandi and all other stakeholders, which one Asim has told you, everything will be very simple.
Everything. Now, you wanted to supplement something. Well, yes.
I think it's been covered very well, but there are some important aspects with this, because all we are actually talking about is data. And a question that we very often get from cooperators, so that's why I wanted to address it here, because I know a lot of them are thinking about it. What about our data? Today they maybe have it in an Excel sheet, they have it in a system installed locally, maybe they have it in a book. And it's important to say that the data is very safe with us. We host it in big servers. We are a regulated entity. That means that we cannot go out and sell that data or do anything else with it. And the thing also with data is we are bringing in one key learning from the country where I'm from, which is Norway. The government has implemented a lot of digital processes. To give an example, if I want to do something as strange as change my name, it takes 1 minute online, one form online. If I want to file my taxes, it takes 10 seconds. If I want to apply for, move my home address, it takes less than a minute. If a company wants to deliver their annual report, it's very simple. That last one we are bringing to this space, meaning that when the SACO needs to do their reporting to the various stakeholders, the regulators, we have tailor-made the reporting based on their input. Very important thing, because today there's so much errors. Maybe they sit with an Excel file, maybe they even print it and go to the office and deliver it. That time has to stop, because that should be one click in a system. We are not perfect yet, but we will get there. So I just wanted to add that one. Thank you.
Well, also when we talk about systems, we talk about technology. How safe is this, away from just protecting my data? All the time we hear hackers. Now here, there is money involved. If I can mess around and I deposit various funds on various people's accounts, that would do me good. I would be a very successful hacker.
Would be.
And of course, money would be gotten. And then usually sometimes what we get with these systems are that you find that the provider of the system is not the sole determinant of the system. Now, when someone hacks into the system, they'll tell you head office in Norway, we are contacting them. Then they will tell you have to, maybe your license expired, you need some money. It becomes a very huge problem. And this we've experienced in our country. And sometimes people you go, and how safe then also is the network?
Yeah.
We have these issues. Someone will want to withdraw their money or do something, and they are told, if we go to an ATM and the network is down, then what about a system?
Yeah. Well, you're pointing out to something very relevant. And it's actually two parts you're talking about. One is the security, like how do we handle that, and how do we handle the availability of the system.
Yes.
There are pros and cons. You know, when you have a server in the corner, it's always available for you, and no matter if the network is down. But that server can be stolen. Someone can take it. The hard disk can crash, so all the data is lost. So there's always pros and cons with everything. We can't do magic. The network is as it is. If the network is down, the system is not available. There's no other way to do it. We do certain things. We allow them to access certain things. But if internet is down in Uganda, we are also down. And this is just how it is with thinking about digitalization that way. If the ATM is down, the bank can't really do anything else than wait for the network to come up again. So that area, but on our part, we always work with various stress scenarios. We do a lot of security testing. And I think one thing that should give a lot of confidence to the cooperators, to our partners there, is we are licensed by the central bank. And trust me, that process is not easy. It took us 2 years to get the license. Very thorough process. And maybe I'm wrong, and I don't mean to offend any competitors, but I think we are the only one in the market that has this license. It has taken a lot of time to get to where we are. And we did the same in Kenya. Very, very long process. It's the same type of system being used. You said one important thing. You said call to Norway to get help. I can assure you it's not like that. The company is owned by a Norwegian entity. We are here on the ground to support our local staff. Our customers don't need to interact with us from Norway. We have very talented local people with country managers, sales people, support people, compliance people, everyone sitting here in Kampala working together with our partners. So the company is owned by the Norwegian, but it's truly a local Uganda company that is here to serve our people.
Here to serve our people, and of course now the issues regarding safety have really been discussed. Ivan, cooperators deal so much with money because they have what they are bringing and they are getting money. But one of the critical roles has been issues of transparency and maybe sometimes integrity. How is this system going to factor into this?
Thank you so much. Like as earlier mentioned, once you have a system like a circle here, a member comes, deposits the money, it is entered in the system, and it goes through the entire system, up to reporting. You disburse a loan, the same system. It becomes very easy when it is about transparency and accountability. You can easily account to the members, to the stakeholders, to anybody, just real time. Like Mr. Rutar was mentioning. Instead of coming with a printed copy to the ministry, imagine from Uchisoro. You board the bus very early in the morning, you reach here in the evening, the ministry has closed, you sleep, tomorrow morning you wake up, you come to submit, the man looks through the report, he says there is a mistake here, you board the bus again, you go back to Uchisoro to correct the mistake, you come back, all that is time wasted. So in other words, with the system, it's just real time. Share with the ministry, they look through the system, if there is a mistake, they send you a message, correct here, add this, subtract this, you correct it, real time, you submit. That is the real transparency and accountability we are talking about. Members want to know, I'm a member, I've deposited money, I want to know how much is on my account. You know, in some circles which are on the manual system, the manager will tell you, give me 1 week. I have to add. I want to see how much you deposited, how much are your withdrawals, and how much is the balance, a whole week. So
That time wastage, like he was mentioning, we need to move away from the old methods of doing things because time is money. Cooperators, we need to know that we are now in the digital era. If we don't embrace technology, then the technology will embrace us. And that will be the end of the story. So the earlier we move, the better. I want to call upon all circles and other types of cooperatives. This is the right time for us to embrace technology, because the manual system, I did it myself for 9 years. I know how expensive and how hectic it is. But with the digital system, everything is okay. You just look at banks. Even if you wanted your money at midnight, you go to an ATM and withdraw. Even if I'm here seated, I can transact on my account. I can easily look at my statement using e-banking. That is where we should be looking at. The olden days are gone. This business of saying, as it was, it is now, and ever shall be, forget about it. We need to move in a different angle. Then, so here, really, as I finish, I want to thank the government of Uganda, Ministry of Trade, for this initiative, which we saw yesterday with an MOU. I want to thank Innovation Norway for the support and the partnership. I want to thank Wakandi that sat with us, the whole team, and we developed a system that is tailored to the business of cooperatives. And they are not coming in as a business, but they are coming in as a partner to support digitization of cooperatives, not only circles, but all cooperatives. Cooperators outside there, help me, let's work together, let's embrace technology. This is the way to go. Thank you.
Now, Rutalo, as we are coming to the end of this show, your final remarks to the cooperators regarding this new development.
Thank you very much. You talked about transparency and accountability. With the new technology, it can be a warning, or it can be some kind of something people should think about. You know, we've been suffering with most of the leaders of our cooperatives. They don't want to be compliant. For example, you talked of accountability. Accountability, for me, a member of a cooperative, I get accountability at the end of the financial year when you call me for a general meeting and you give me accountability for what happened during the previous year and we plan for the next year.
Moreover, that happens after lunch.
So what?
People are tired.
So some people have been
the final thing on agenda is accountability.
Some people have been taking years without organizing those annual meetings, simply without giving accountability. Why? Because even as we have more than 40,000 cooperatives, we can't be everywhere. And we had no way how we could tell from Kampala. But now with this new technology, whenever it would be it will go beyond 31st March, the system will put their red, telling us that these ones haven't been they have not accounted for their members. Meaning we will come in and try to revoke members. We revoke the section 22, which say that if you don't give accountability within 90 days from the end of the financial year, meaning legislators should come in and call for a special meeting and we elect new leaders. So this is to leaders and even members. Actually, members, you should be the one who should force these leaders to go digital. By all means, you should force them, because that is the only way we can get transparency, you can be accountable to, and that is the only way you can also curb fraud, because most corporates are suffering from fraud due to the ongoing manual system. But with digital systems like the way Bwana Simu has told you, you can be able to tell the route how the transaction moved. But with the manual system, someone just eats one page and everything is lost. So members, mainly the members of our cooperatives, if you see your leaders don't bring you together to digitalization, please do the needful. At your annual meetings, we are now towards the end of the financial years. Please force these people to go digital so that you can safeguard and also safeguard your money and also get clear accountability. These cooperatives are here to help us today and tomorrow. By tomorrow, I mean our children and our grandchildren.
Well said, Rutaro. That is from the Ministry of Trade, Industries and Cooperatives. Now, Spen, as we come to the end, first, what is this called? Is it a Wakanda? How? You know, in case someone asks, yes, I've been watching. So, what do I look out for?
Well, the name Wakandi, I wish there was a very, very good story behind it. But I'm going to invite every partner and every cooperative I ask to ask me the question. I'll keep it a secret for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
closing words from my end would be to tag along on the big thank you. And also I want to take the opportunity to invite these SACCOs in Uganda to join on this journey, on this partnership. And it is truly a journey because, as you said, change takes time. And change is also very often hard for people. So we accept that cooperatives, SACCOs, has a certain type of soul. They meet, it's much more than just savings and credit. And we accept that and we try to embrace that. So I would like to invite them in on our journey together, a journey on this partnership to become digital. We understand that it's not done on the first day, but over time they will see more and more benefit of using the mobile money, using the digital way of doing things and see all the benefits. So thank you so much for having us here. And it's been really great. I'm looking forward to meet with a lot of new SACCOs here in Uganda.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. Ivan, Rotalo, and Spin from Norway. Thank you so much for your time. And above all, our viewers, thank you so much for being part of this show. To the cooperators, the thing is digital migration. How do you do things in a digital manner? Well, what is interesting is this something tailor-made for the cooperatives, if I may use the word SACCOs. Now it understands issues regarding accountability, issues regarding reporting, where your taxes are exempted, still this system factors in all that. So why not take this direction? Because it's quick and reliable. See you in the next hour. Have a lovely day.
Of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Basebo ne banyabo Kasita Quality Awards 2024 zizino era zakubayo ku Lwokutaano 25 Oktoba 2024 ku IUEA Auditorium Kansanga wansi w'omulamwa Celebrating Excellence Inspiring Innovation jangu twegatteko nga twebaza abasobozi ne bannamakolero bonna olw'omulimu omulungi gwe bakola okumanya ebisingawo okuba ku ssimu noti 772 590 noti M22 oba noti 773 M53 898 oba noti 7 8 noti 39 5 watusange e Kampala ku Uganda Market Street Royal Complex Building omwaliriro gwokusatu suti emu Kasita Quality Awards 2024 ewagiddwa Deposit Protection Fund, Gentex, Tembo, Insurance Regulatory Authority, IUEA, BBS, Movit, Shria Pads, Pride Microfinance and Jubilee Alliance.